time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot for December 30th. Brent Wallace alongside Jason York. This show proudly presented to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Yorkie, what a win. This team.
Oh. It was gritty. That was gritty last night. Well, you know, some iron luck. I think there was a magnet. I think the puck had a sensor inside it that kept taking it towards the post. It was
okay, hang on.
5 posts and 4 posts and 1 crossbar.
So let's just ignore the fact that maybe Merilainen was in position and all they could hit was the crossbar or a post.
Maybe. I mean, we'll go with that one. Sure. We'll take that one.
If they shoot it wide, we don't say anything. It's wide of going in the net.
It's not a shot on goal. It doesn't count as a shot. It counts as a shot attempt, though.
Yes.
So it is an attempt. But no, I liked Ottawa's game last night. They stuck with. This is the thing. This is why if people want to know why Ottawa is playing much better, because they don't beat themselves anymore. They stay in the fight and don't make those silly mistakes they used to make in the past. And they've got guys in front of the net. Sometimes they back off a little bit too much. Like if you go back to that Winnipeg game, Wally, and they accept the rush too much and they give them too much time and space. But it's a hell of a lot better than this team used to defend, where there'd be nobody in front of the net. So it's been really nice to watch. That is 2 really good teams, Wally. In Winnipeg, which they stayed in the fight again. They could have won that game if not for they needed a kill when it was 2-2, and that one goal that Scheifele got, I thought really kind of changed momentum of that hockey game, and then Winnipeg got going. But full marks for the Winnipeg game, and then last night just a gritty road win, and they needed it. So, anyways, I'm excited for this team. This is I was on the X this morning and I read the amount of time that Zub has been out now. And think about this. Who would have thought this team could have withstood not having one of your top 4 defensemen? And I believe their record, it's something like 16-4, whatever it is. I don't have the exact, I'll check it in a second, but it's been, to me, that's been one of the biggest things is navigating with only really 3 defensemen that are top 4 guys and plugging in holes here and there. But hey, that was, like I said, that was a gritty win last night.
I disagree with the Winnipeg.
What do you disagree with?
I think Winnipeg just toyed with them and then turned it on and then just took over the game.
I disagree. Well, back up your point. Back up your point. Why do you think that?
When they had to score goals, they did it right. Like they could handle an Ottawa team. They were much bigger, heavier, physical. They didn't give Ottawa much. They didn't give Ottawa much in the middle of the ice. It's not like Ottawa had a gazillion scoring chances. Ottawa made a couple of key plays that had them up 2-0, and then the Jets settled down, and then I think they just took over the game by the end of it. I just don't think they gave Ottawa very much. That's all.
It's funny how that the power play, we talked about this before Christmas. If Ottawa was going to be successful, that power play had to get going, and I agree with you on that. I thought the power play let them hang around in that game, but I'll say this: if you put Linus Ullmark in that net for the Winnipeg game, they might win it.
Yes, but that's different, right? That's
why.
Well, because you now have a Vezina Trophy winning goalie. Before, your goaltenders didn't win you very many games. You put Linus Ullmark in, you have a chance to beat anybody any night. That just changes the whole dynamic of your game. That being said, Leevi Merilainen has been pretty good.
Yeah. I don't want to crap on Sogard, but two of the goals. Like, here's the thing: I didn't think Ottawa gave them a ton. Like that one goal, that was just the D being too far apart on the rush. Yeah. Winnipeg stuck to the middle. But I'll say this: Shabbat closed on Scheifele really quick on that play, and the only play he had was a backhand. And you have to have that. You, as a goaltender, you got to read that, just get over, make the save. Then the other one was, it wasn't really noted on the broadcast. Everybody was blaming Bernard Docker on that one, the rush attempt when everybody backed right in on Nikolai Ehlers. What happened on that play was there was a line change. Jake Sanderson jumped on the ice. That's why there was zero gap, and he had zero chance to get up on the play. And all of a sudden, you back up, and it was just a miscommunication. There was just a couple mental errors in that game, but hey, they're the best team in the league, Wally. Winnipeg's the best team in the league, and you hung in there with your fourth string goalie. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the effort in that one as well.
For sure. 11-4-1 without Artem Zub currently in the lineup.
Okay.
So he is skating. He does look pretty good. I would suspect after this road trip, if you will, the never-ending road trip, he'll probably be close to returning. I believe he's like healed, healthy. Just now it's a conditioning thing.
Game shape, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Have you seen him skate?
Yeah. So when I showed up at the rink the other day, so the 27th, when they were just getting, and so how it works is all the injured guys skate before. So let's just put it to you this way: if practice is at 10:30, the media are allowed into a building or the Canadian Tire Center at 10. It's always a half hour before. The injured players always skate up until 10, then leave the ice before the media get in, so you don't see them skating. At Sensplex, it's different, and I was slow getting there. So they had no way to hold you back, if you will. The guys were just skating, and he was skating when I just got in, and I just caught the tail end of it. But he looked really good.
Yeah. Well, what has it been now? It's been over.
Well, November 23rd is when he went out. So
yeah, 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Yeah,
roughly.
Which is a broken foot. So that sounds 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6. There you go. There's the math. We did that in a couple seconds. So I would think after this road trip, you're going to see Artem Zub potentially back in the lineup.
If not, like he could be Detroit, right? They do come home, or I don't suspect Dallas, but maybe they'll have a day off today. He's, as far as I know, he hasn't flown into Dallas, so I'll say that Detroit game.
Yeah, I think Forsberg's got a chance to back up in that Dallas game.
We shall see, but I agree with you. But so there's going to be the debate. I guess we'll get to it later. Julian McKenzie is expected to join us. And I know that Anton Forsberg is your backup goaltender. Yeah. Has Merilainen played well enough to earn himself more time? But probably not, right? You want him playing in the AHL.
As well, he's gonna be here because Ullmark's not going to be on this trip. So if I guess your question is, will he get another start if Forsberg's healthy?
No, just how many more will he get? Is it just the one if Forsberg comes back type thing? That's what I'm curious to know. He needs to play games, right? It looks now that he has passed Matt Sogard.
Well, he needs to help. I think it's more important if you look where Ottawa is in the standings right now. I think Ottawa is going to need him here until Ullmark's healthy. So I think he stays because he's earned. No,
stays. So let's just say when Linus Ullmark is back and healthy.
Yeah.
Has Merilainen earned any kind of extra time here? And I guess it's no is the answer because of body.
What do you do with Forsberg?
Well, I just like the way Merilainen's played. That's all I'm trying. I just like the way he's played. And I think
me too.
Some games.
I think he hasn't lost you any games. I think he's gone on there and earned some trust from the coaching staff where you say, you know what? We're comfortable with this guy playing. He battles. We like his mental toughness. We like that he saves shots for the most part that he's supposed to save, and he's looked confident. He's got a little swagger back there. I like him. So I think for sure this is the thing. It's the same players and goalies. It's the same thing. Have you earned enough of the trust from the coach just to be comfortable with putting you in another game? I'd say absolutely, for sure. Has he passed Forsberg? No. But he's now you're not scared to death now to put a goaltender in. You haven't seen much, so I'll say that. And I will say quite well.
Contracts make a big part of it, right? And that's another issue. Is obviously Anton Forsberg's not going anywhere. But I was told if you were to compare the two, Merilainen and Sogard, Merilainen's work ethic is off the charts. Yeah. He's hungrier for it. He's not as talented as Sogard, but he makes up for it in his compete level. Well, and I think that's what you're seeing the difference in the way these two guys play.
There's so many, and I'm not going to say I don't know anything about Sogard's work ethic or how he goes about his business, but from what you're saying about Merilainen, that goes such a long way in the NHL. I'll tell you, there's so many guys that are talented guys that just never stick, because to play in the NHL, this is one of the, Craig Ramsey said this a long time ago. He's, mate, you guys think making the NHL is tough? It's even tougher staying, because there's always somebody coming. There's always somebody hungry for your job. There's just, you got to battle every single day. Being good is just, it'll help you get there a little quicker. It'll give you some extra looks, help you get drafted a little bit higher, for sure. But it's work ethic, and it's compete that keeps you in the league, unless you're an absolute superstar and you can take a few shifts off here and there. But for the most part, the NHL is filled with guys that have outworked other guys to get there, and they just keep doing it. And it's like, it's a battle. Like every day you're there. Yeah, these guys are your teammates, but they're also competing against you to take what you have. And it was funny when I was coming up, Wally, it was much different when you would get called up, or if you were at training camp. Like, the veterans treated you like a piece of shit because they did not want you there. And like, it was in practice. I remember when I was in Detroit, if I played too hard in practice against a guy, I get two-handed. And it was the old saying was, don't speak unless spoken to in the locker room. That it was different times back there. Like, you really had to earn it. I'm not saying that was a good thing, but it was it was much more different. And it was tough. Like, you weren't given multiple opportunities to fail. It was like, if you're not good right away, you're done.
It always makes me laugh when the Sens or whatever team is out of the playoffs and headed towards a lottery pick, that we would ask players in the room,
we don't want a lottery pick,
right? And the last thing a player wants is a high-end player coming into their locker room.
Because he's guaranteed, especially today, that player's guaranteed to play. If you're a guy naturally, if you're like the first or second best four in the team, or the one or two D, for sure you want another really talented guy. But even those guys don't follow the draft. They don't pay attention. Like, people have no idea how much of a difference junior and college hockey is to the NHL. Like, it's astronomical. It's astronomical. And it always amazes me. And I laugh at this, of people that think guys are ready to play right away. And this is a tough league to play in. It's a tough league, and it takes a long time to master your craft. And it's just, no, you're right. That's so funny, Wally. It's so true. Yeah. The guys absolutely don't want that lottery pick, because he's getting an automatic job.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's crazy when you go back and think about it. This show, by the way, proudly presented to you by Charm Diamond Centers, who have proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972, with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program. My cousin just got engaged on the weekend. Check out a large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mine diamonds, and don't pay until 2025 with the instant in-store financing on approved credit. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. All right, so back to the Minnesota game, which Wild, for us, by the way, Ottawa hadn't won there in 7 games, which was 8 years, 0-6-1. A daunting place. And Minnesota was top 5 in the league this year, but they don't play well at home.
Yeah.
And Ottawa, they just hung around, right? Got a power play goal, which was key, from Josh Norris. They did that game that reminds me of the Jacques game in a way, where you don't give much and you just hang around. And then that Claude Giroux goal.
It's like that old, I don't know if you're not a big movie buff, Wally, but the movie Rounders.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Great movie.
Is it a mob movie or a betting?
It's a little bit of the Russian mob in there. It's John Malkovich, and
great actor.
What's his name from Goodwill Hunting there, that plays Will Hunting?
Matt Damon,
and also his buddy there that plays Batman there is from
Ben
Boston.
Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Yeah, great cast. Great cast in the movie. Anyhow, I can't believe I'm losing my memory. Too much drinking over Christmas. Anyhow, it's a movie about poker when Texas Hold'em, and Teddy KGB is the Russian poker player who has like a little Russian underground poker club. That's his line in the movie. They're playing Texas Hold'em, and Matt Damon just kept checking. He's check, Jack. And after a while, he just loses his mind. He goes, "You're just hanging around, hanging around." So anytime I see the Sens play like this, I'll get a text from my old buddy Steve Lloyd with the Teddy KGB gif, hanging around, hanging around. But it's true. That's how you got like that. This is to me the biggest difference in the Senators teams. And I'll say it again. They don't beat themselves. Now and then you will, but that's the key in this league. Don't beat yourself. Don't make stupid mistakes at the blue line. Don't try something that's not there. Make the other team earn their ice. Make them come 200 feet. Clog up the neutral zone. Their neutral zone play, Wally, is night and day better than it used to be. Night and day. And the difference, you watch the Senators forwards, when they're back checking through the neutral zone, they hound guys now. Like their back pressure, it just makes it so much easier for your defense. And that's why when you see plays where they don't do it, you see what happens. Like in the Winnipeg game, they didn't hound on the back check. They gave Ehlers too much time, and he scores. But that helps out your defense so much. It's just it's been nice to watch. Like this team, they're playing like a team now, Wally, and that's why they're winning.
Connected, as a Travis Green always likes to say, being connected. However, what were your thoughts on all the line juggling that took place?
I liked it.
Shane Pinto is moved now to Brady Tkachuk's line. Josh Norris, we'll say moved down the lineup, but I don't know that there's a number one line. Like, I mean, is Tim Stützle your number one center?
Yes. Yes. We know that,
right? Like,
you're talking crazy. You're talking crazy now. That's crazy talk. He's your number one.
Yes,
number one.
Then
center.
Again, Ridley Gregg has played really well of late. 3 goals the last 5 games. I think Shane Pinto has found a confidence level in his game right now. I don't say his game's at another level. I just think he looks really good on the ice. That line is pretty good together.
Pinto looks great. There's a guy that just knows exactly what he is. This is what I am. I'm a two-way center. I can play with a little bit of sandpaper. I can hold on the pucks. I can make plays. I like him on face-offs. Like you watch him when he rolls into a draw, he's ready to battle. You'll see some guys come in the NHL and they're like, "Oh, this," and you can just tell the guy's going to lose the draw. But I love Pinto's body language right now, Wally. And you can tell now, like he's being utilized differently. He's back full time on that second power play unit. Yeah. He's starting OTs to win draws, which helped them win that overtime game. Was it 2 or 3 games ago that they won when he won that draw? That ended up changing, but it was because he won that draw. They ended up scoring in overtime on that Sanderson goal. But no, Pinto's been great. Gregg, and this is what they needed. They needed Pinto and Gregg to get going. I thought Gaudette was better last night, but it just goes to show you he gets elevated again. He had some great looks. Norris, timely goal scoring. Cousins looks a lot better, Wally. I like Cousins' game right now. He
4 shots last night.
Yeah, he had a slow start to the season, but you knew as the season went along and the game started to become more important, he would elevate. He's been good. I thought Brady was a beast last night, down low. Just like you need that when you're playing a big, heavy team like Minnesota. You need your big boys to step up, and I thought Tkachuk really stepped up in that game. But no, Stützle, Batherson was good again as well. But it's a team effort. Like I'll say this too. I tweeted this out last night, and some people didn't like it, but you got to say it. You got to call it like it is. I thought Hamonik had a really good game. I thought he was really good last night.
You're going to make everybody's head explode. I agree with you. I don't understand all the constant Travis Hamonik stuff. Does he have bad games? Sure. Yes. Does Jake Sanderson have bad games? But there's no other person to put in that spot currently with Artem Zub out of the lineup.
Yeah.
And I think he's been fine. I just don't get it.
Like, Sens are right at the cap, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Like last time I checked, that's why they had to move Perron and
they're moving pieces here and there. Guys are going up and down. Like everybody, you can't just go out and get somebody that makes $2, $3, $4, $5 million because you can't put them in on this team. They're at the cap, so you're very limited on what you could do. So for what he is and what he makes, yeah, he's not a top 4 defenseman, but he's had some games this year where he's made some blunders. He's had some turnovers, but I just think when a guy does play well, you got to point it out. I thought he played well last night, and I thought the Winnipeg game he did some nice things as well too. Blocked some timely shots at key moments, and 22 back-to-back nights. So you're playing 2 big, heavy teams. You're an older guy. and you play 22 minutes in game 2 and your team wins, like I think that's a good night. It's a good night for Hamonik.
+2, him and Jake Sanderson, both +2. You can help me out here because I believe playing defense in the National Hockey League is extremely difficult. And so I'm thinking, well, we like to pick, we pick on Thomas Chabot, we pick on Travis Hamonik, pick on JBD, like somebody on every defensive pairing. Because you know what? There's going to be mistakes made because it's hard to play that position. I just like Travis Hamonik's game. I don't have a huge issue with him when there's no other option available. I just don't understand. Well, and by the way, and we'll get to JBD and Matinpalo here when you have time.
Yeah. Bernard Docker's in a tough spot right now. I looked at his ice time. I didn't think he was very good in the Winnipeg game. And then right away I looked at his ice time. And I know this from playing in the league and playing that position. He played 10 minutes. When you play 10 minutes in a game, mentally, it is very, very tough because one mistake and you're done. And then you're thinking about it. And I thought in that Winnipeg game, he played like he was a player trying to not make a mistake. And when you play that way, you retreat. And you watched a couple of the goals he was on for, in particular the one in the Winnipeg's first goal. Shifley behind the net, put it out in the slot. He wasn't aggressive. The goal off the rush, he backed up. But that's what you do when your confidence is shaken, your ice time's down. You start retreating and you start playing safe. And there's an old saying in hockey. Remember this saying, Wally? Safe as death. Safe as death. That's what happens.
Or forecheck, back check, paycheck. That's those are the only two things that you need.
I missed that one. Hey, you like my hat, by the way? You like one of these, eh? The old dog dad? Little Christmas gift.
Yeah, I'm good. Nick Matinpalo played his first game of the season, his 5th NHL game. Him paired with Travis Clevin, who they were paired together in the AHL. Your thoughts on seeing him in and JBD being a healthy scratch?
I just watching him last night. I'm like, Wally's going to love this guy. He slashed a guy in front of the net. He's cross-checking guys. His boots aren't great, but he's 6'4" and he's huge. This is Wally's type of player right here. I've
been waiting to put him in. Let him just
meat and
punch
potatoes.
Someone in the side of the head.
Yeah, that was a good slash. I forget who he got on that penalty, but
I'm not sure you call that slashing.
That was like he almost harpooned the guy. It was good.
He used that thing like a sickle.
You like him?
Yeah, like he's exactly what I want him to be. He doesn't think he's anything other than what he is, which is a simple game, off the glass and out, whatever. But he will play hard in front of the net, and if he can move you, he's going to move you.
He boxed out before he took that slashing penalty. He boxed out extremely well to help save a goal because I don't know, people remember that particular play before he took his penalty. There was a shot directed at the net, and it was right at Merilainen's legs, and the rebound squirted right. It was right there to be banged in, and Matinpalo used that big body of his. He boxed the guy out, and he was making sure there wasn't going to be a second opportunity there, which is what you want. Then he just got a little bit overzealous and gave the guy a nice little chop. But you remember when we had David Bell on the show? Yeah. He talked about him, and he said, this guy's a man. This guy is a big, he loves him. I remember him talking about him just like a big, like right shot D that's massive, and his boots aren't great, but you'd be surprised if you continue to get NHL reps and you practice at that speed, and you, like what I talked about earlier with work ethic, and you put the work in, you can get a little quicker. You can make your decisions faster. It's just it's all about just coming to the rink every day and working at it. But no, I think there's potentially something there.
So he's 6'3", 207, 26 years old. He lists in right now as the second heaviest player on the team, or defenseman, behind Tyler Clevin. So Clevin and him combined for the 2 heaviest D. That's what I want. It's all I want in the third pairing.
Axe and Smash from the old Road Warriors. Remember those guys? Just 2 big monsters, clubbing guys in front of the net.
The Bash Brothers, yeah.
Well, if you look at what Ottawa's that's kind of what they're missing in their lineup. They've got Zub's a puck mover, Sanderson's a puck mover, Chabot's a puck mover. And I know everybody, and I love Jensen as a player, and everybody talks about him being this defensive. To me, he's more of a puck mover. Like, I think Jensen's a tremendous puck
yeah.
mover, and he defends well. But the reason he's playing so well is because he gets the puck out of his own zone so well. So when you do that, you don't have to play as much defense. But no, I liked, every team wants a guy like Braden McCabe on Vegas. McNabb or whatever his name is, Braden McNabb, a big, massive guy that when he's on the ice, he takes up space and he makes the other team pay with a nasty hit here and there. And you need a guy like that. And I just think Cleven could be that guy, but it'd be nice to have another guy too, wouldn't it?
Yes. My only concern with Matinpalo is if he's caught up ice, or if
he ain't
the
going
guy
up
in
the ice
2-on-1. Well, no, but if it's a transition game and you get caught, like when I think of the Thomas Chabot goal, I'll call it the Thomas Chabot goal, the backhand Mark Scheifele, is if he's one of those guys that gets caught in the 2-on-1 or whatever, he may end up finding himself getting beat. That's only thing.
Yeah.
But I would give him the next game. I would give him the Dallas game, especially against the heavier teams.
Oh, the JBD crowd's going to be after you, Wally. They're going to be coming with pitchforks after you.
So not only have we said we like Travis Hamonik, we want to see JBD scratched. Great. That's a good start.
You want Bernard Docker scratched again, don't you? Well, that's what you're saying.
Well, if you win, you deserve to be in, according to John Paddock.
Win and you're in.
Win and you're in.
Oh, baby.
I feel like I have to check with the Gabriel Pizza people. I feel like we need to have
another contest?
Delivery of the day. Because right. And it might be, there might be the pass to Josh Norris for the power play goal, or it could just be Claude Giroux's firing of the empty netter in.
You got to be careful with the pizza delivery of the day, because in hockey terminology, when you throw up a pizza, it's actually when you turn the puck over.
That's a good point.
You go, wow, that was a pizza you threw up the middle there. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that one. But we could do that too. We could have like the pizza play of the day. It's the most egregious turnover of the hockey game.
I'll check with the Gabriel Pizza people. Speaking of Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of our little show here that we like to do every once in a while. Make sure to download the loyalty app, Gabriel Pizza Perks. You earn points with every purchase on the app. Get access to exclusive deals with Gabriel Pizza Perks. Or you can also order online at GabrielPizza.com. Don't forget, Sens score 4, you score more. And that is, you get 40% off any 9-inch pizza the day after the Sens score 4, which could come as early as Dallas. But Yorkie, my concern is this team doesn't score enough goals 5-on-5. They had 2 last night, but one's an empty netter. They are in this little run, by the way, which has been since November 25th. They're not a very good 5-on-5 team. And in the Eastern Conference, I have them somewhere in the bottom of the. I have to find it again
for 5-on-5 scoring.
Yeah, they don't generate enough 5-on-5.
Yeah, but they've been limiting.
Agreed.
You can get away with that when you limit what the other team's doing, and they have been doing a pretty good job of that. If you look at that game last night, they did a real nice job limiting Minnesota. I know they had the posts and the crossbars, but it never really seemed like Ottawa that game was going the wrong way for them. You know what I mean? It just seemed like they played they seem like a team that's playing comfortable with the style. Like they're kind of know what they are now. And we talk about identity. We talk about like, what kind of team are you? And I think they're getting pretty close to the point where they know what they are. They're a team that has to play a certain way. And at times you're not going to generate that much because you're playing high percentage, high decision hockey.
So the Sens are 11-4-1 in the last 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
They are 13th in the Eastern Conference in 5-on-5 goals.
Mm.
So so my concern is if the power play isn't working, which we've seen it for a bit, it's now scored in the last couple of games, that's where you start to get into a little bit of some trouble.
I don't have their penalty kill stats in front of me, but having a really good penalty kill can make up for that. And I know their penalty kill has really picked it up as of late. Throw in some good goaltending and the power play. You can Like you can win in the NHL like that. But it is a little bit of concern because you do have to generate more 5-on-5. It's just what do you give up by doing that? So I've got no problem with how they're playing. Like they just like let's be honest here.
Yeah.
They just went in and went toe to toe with Winnipeg without a dependable player in Amadio and their number one goaltender, and hung in there for 2 periods. Then they go out and they beat one of the best teams in the league in Minnesota with their third string goaltender. So I like how they're playing.
I agree. Their power play in the last 9 games is 22 for 25, 88%.
Yeah. Like people got to remember too, there's not many perfect teams in the NHL. Like if you go around and you look at rosters, why is Winnipeg one of the best teams in the league? Well, they really
doesn't their trophy winning goalie.
Well, there is close to a perfect team constructed as you could probably look at in the NHL. Their top players, like they have Scheifele, who's one of the best power forwards in the game. They've got secondary scoring in players as well. They've got Nikolai Ehlers, they've got Kyle Connor, and they've got Adam Lowry. They've got Apple. They've got their grinders. They've got their scorers. But the thing with Winnipeg is their stars play the right way. And we talked about teams that don't win and that have trouble, like the Rangers, for example. Their stars don't play the right way. That's why they are where they are. But Winnipeg, to me, is close to a perfect team as there is in the NHL right now. They're just, and you throw in the goaltending, you throw in the defenseman, they just don't really have a weakness.
I agree, but
yeah,
I'm glad they're in the West.
Yeah, and then you look at and in comparison, look at Ottawa. They're probably missing a right shot top 6 forward, and they're missing a right shot D, especially with Zub out, and they don't have their starting goaltender right now. So that says something.
So is not the 5-on-5? I'm just like they're still holding on to a playoff spot. Have you looked? So have you checked the standings of late? When you see they're not that far from first in the Atlantic Division. It's 6 points from the Leafs, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. I think they're at 40 and the Leafs are 46.
They're 6 behind, Wally. You are correct, sir.
Right, they're a game in hand on the Leafs, but like they're not the Florida Panthers aren't playing. They're a 500 hockey team in the last 22 games. So there's no runaway in the Atlantic Division. I think as much as the records or the points are the same, I think the Leafs are the class of the Atlantic Division at the moment.
I'm gonna pull a Wally on you here, Wally.
Oh,
I'm gonna go a glass half empty. I'm gonna flip it around and say, well, Pittsburgh's only 1 point behind them, and
Pittsburgh can't sustain not stopping the puck. They just can't. I know they played really good of late. They
play well. They sometimes beat themselves.
Right. They play fire wagon hockey.
Well, you have to have your big boys bought into the style you're playing. And at least the Pittsburgh Penguins team I saw in Ottawa, that whole team's not bought in. But how did the Columbus Blue Jackets get to 36 points? Like that's crazy talk right there. But there's not a lot of separation from where Ottawa is to Toronto, but there's also not a lot of separation from Ottawa to those teams that are chasing them. And that's the scary part of this. It's so tight. Like even the Montreal Canadiens, 35 points right now. Like they're coming up the rear. Just so yeah, sure. Ottawa's only 6 behind Florida, but there's a lot of teams just nipping at you right now, nipping at your heels, just like a little terrier right now, Wally.
I'd say the same thing to Tampa and Boston or Florida. Like their teams are everywhere. If any of those teams has a little bit of a skid at the moment, you could see Ottawa sitting in the 3rd place in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, for sure. And if Ottawa has a skid, you can see them out of the playoffs.
But they're not going to, Yorkie, because they're playing connected hockey.
Yeah, no, and their power play. Their power play is helping them win games and stay in games. But I just you got to get Allmark healthy and back in this net because over a sustained long period of time, you need him. You need him back. Thanks, Tips.
Did you plan all show for that?
There's information you can't get anywhere. Oh, they're going to need Allmark to get in the playoffs.
No. quickly, I'm just trying to think quickly. I've lost my train of thought about speaking on players who are playing up front, who are playing well at the moment. So if you look at the way the lines are structured, Josh Norris is in the third line.
Yeah.
I'm curious if what you think of his play of late. And I will say that by saying, I think he's been very good.
I like Norris this season.
Is it just a line juggling thing? And I will use the line from Yanni, who said, Travis Green got a blender for Christmas.
Well, he got the Ninja. He got the good one. He got.
Have you seen that milkshake machine?
No. What does it do?
There's a Ninja like milkshake machine, and now everybody's posting recipes about making like the Wendy's Frosty and Orange Julius. Like, it's apparently this great machine. But I have not really looked into it.
Our boy, at Christmas time, our blender's going nonstop because my two boys are still playing hockey, so they're working out still. There's the blender's just, oh my god, it's so loud, and I'm using it too. But no, I haven't seen the milkshake machine. But to answer your question on Norris, I really like how he's played this year. That was a great. He's always a great shooter. He's got the good one-timer. I just find his game is much more well-rounded this year. He's been great on faceoffs, and you could tell he's playing properly the way that Travis Green, Mike Yeo, Alfie want him to play, and that's on top of pucks. He's just aware. He's a smart kid. Like, we've had him on the show, Wally. He's a smart guy, and he knows, like, he's playing like a two-way player now. And I've been impressed with his game. I've been impressed with Batherson's game, the chemistry, and whether he's on whatever the so-called third line, he's on the first power play. And then, at the end of the day, when you're on the first power play, that's usually what keeps guys happy. But I've got zero issues with how Josh Norris is playing. I think he's come a long way in understanding defensively how he needs to play, and also too, like this is the first time in a long time that he's been consistently healthy for this long.
Yeah.
So like just getting the reps and doing it over and over and over again, like it takes a while. And like it's not like he's playing in a pretty important role. No, I think he's been just fine.
4 game-winning goals this season. I just like the if you I speak to him in the room quite frequently. He just has a confidence about him this year that you can, like, you feed off that confidence, right? If you're a line mate, if you're a teammate, guys are playing really well, you feed off it. I just feel like he's playing extremely good.
He strikes me as a guy that loves, like, he takes instruction really well, and it just seems that this team under Travis Green is very well prepared to play. Players know exactly what's expected of them. They know what the coach wants. They know the style they need to play. And he's like, tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. And he's been the benefactor of playing in this system. And people get upset. Like sometimes, like he'll get some looks, but hey, he had the post in Winnipeg. And but that one-timer of his is still boy, oh boy. I love that setup on the power play. And it kind of drives me bonkers when they get him out of that one-timer. You and I were at the game, remember? I'm like, why is Josh Norris in front of the net? Keep him on that left side. Because when he's there, like, it's just, they get so many better looks.
So just so you know, I know we've promoted Julian McKenzie joining the show. I don't know if he's sleeping in. I've texted him and called him and haven't heard a word. So we'll still keep trying to. That's no chance or something.
No, listen, he's zero chance he's getting in the good guys club. you sleep in for a show?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if he is. I'm just saying maybe. Maybe his internet. I don't know. Maybe his internet's disconnected. I don't know. Just saying.
That's like the biggest no-no in professional sports, by the way, right? When you're late. When you're late, and you get kicked off teams for that. You get sent home, especially when you're a young guy. When I was you learn that the hard way in the minors. When I was in the minors, you had to be at the rink for, I think it was 9 a.m. And we had the clock on the door, and we had these guys called clock watchers, and guys would hope the guys would be late because you're in a battle to get to the NHL.
Right.
So you're hoping guys show up late. And then it became a little bit of a running joke where guys would like sabotage the door to get into the rink. And they'd kind of chain it up or they'd do things. And you'd see guys running into the room with like 3 seconds. They'd slide in like they're sliding the home plate. But I've seen guys like, tell you a story. My last year in NHL, I was playing in Boston, and we had a year-end meeting. And a guy almost costed a guy's career. We had a 12 noon meeting for our bag pickup day. We had missed the playoffs. Nobody was happy. We all had to meet with the GM, Peter Chiarelli, at noon. He had a team meeting. It was Dennis Weidman shows up late.
Chris Weidman.
Dennis, who defenseman played.
Okay. He's the one that pushed the ref in the back.
Yes, yeah, he hammered the ref with the cross. Anyway,
Chris Weidman kept getting hate mail.
They think it was Chris that did it?
Yeah,
He's like, it's not me. It was, anyways, Dennis. End of the year, you go, everyone's drinking, everyone's having a good time, but he shows up late for a 12 noon meeting, and I thought that was going to be end of them because he had just gotten traded there, and he wasn't an established NHLer yet. Like if you're an established guy, you're probably going to get a mulligan, but if you're a young guy, team missed the playoffs, you could be done. But he ended up having a nice career, but just goes, you can't be late. Can't be late, Julian.
Yeah, we spoke last night. And he was at World Juniors. Speaking of World Juniors, let's just go right to it. Did you watch the Latvia game?
Yeah, I watched it. It was, come on, it was an absolute goaltending clinic. I think Canada's going to be fine still, Wally. So they got they beat Germany. They got US on New Year's. Yeah. No matter what happens. So just correct me if I'm wrong. From each division, right? Is it 4? Because you have 4 quarterfinal games, so 4 teams go through.
Yeah, they'll go through. It's not
So what's the problem? So
we're used to, as a country, watching that team dismantle Latvia, Kazakhstan, Switzerland, whatever.
Yeah.
Although I think they recently lost to Switzerland, I can't remember. So there's concern, right? Because they've never lost to Latvia, and Latvia's only ever won 3, and you're supposed to show your dominance. But I'm with you. If you can't beat the goalie sometimes, you just can't beat the goalie. And you never want to. I hate the shoot. I like the shootout for the entertainment value. I don't like it for deciding games.
I don't mind it for the preliminary games, but this is my thing. I watched that shootout, and I'm going to be a little bit of a old school guy. Latvia wins because the guy went in and shot the puck. Canada's trying all these little moves. It's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, this is my signature move, and I'm not going to pick. These are kids. It kind of drives me nuts when people criticize kids.
Yes.
They're teenagers. But I would say this, if it was me coaching, I'm like, guys, never mind the fancy shit. Go in there and score. This isn't a YouTube moment, but there was the goalie. But this could serve them well, as give them a little bit of a wake-up call. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to beat probably the US to get there. And then it's going to be, if they do get there, like Sweden's got a good team too. Like, this is a thing. The hockey world, it's not just Canada now. Like it's been this way for a while. And I like the story. Like when you got the people in Ottawa chanting the goalie's name, the Latvian goalie's name, and then cheering for Latvia when they're playing the US, it's a great story. Like, it's unfortunately they beat Canada, but that's the thing about this tournament. It's got some nice stories like this that develop, and I think it's a nice moment for hockey, not for Canadian hockey, but for hockey.
Yes, I agree. Like, it's a great storyline, and it brings attention
for sure
to the event, to the world of hockey, right? All those Latvian kids now going, listen, maybe there's a chance we can do something on the big stage, whatever.
Just look at women's hockey has come such a long way. It's great. We've got pro hockey, but still, like, you pretty well always know it's going to be Canada and the US, no matter what. They're just so much better.
Sweden would like a word with you.
Come on. But in hockey, like, you've got teams that can surprise you, like the Finns in the World Juniors. You've got the Finns. Like, look at what Czech's doing right now. Sweden's got a good team, and the Russians aren't there, who've got a really good team. It's just there's so many teams that can come and bite you.
Last question is, hold on, we're way behind. I need you to take care of some help for us and our good friends at BEI.
Our good friends at BEI, they're the heavy civil general contractors. And as always, hit them up for some equipment rentals, aggregate and topsoil sales, hot mix paving. They can do it all for you. So when you're planning your next project, please consider BEI for all your aggregate supply needs. And you can get them at bonishirexcavating.com or at 613-431120. And as always, please remember to slow down in construction zones.
And the show proudly presented to you by our presenting partner, Bet365. Open an account today with Bet365. Bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly. Yorkie, I was going to say, I think the Panthers play tonight. I'm just curious if you think they're still as good as we thought early on in the season.
The Panthers?
Yeah.
Well, they're a different team. Like they've lost some key pieces. I don't think they're the same team as they were last year. Like they've lost.
So the Rangers play the Panthers. So that's what I want to get to. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh boy, in Florida, the shoe's got to drop in New York sooner or later. Peter Laviolette's probably going to take a bullet here if this continues.
But what are they waiting for?
He makes a lot of money.
The New York Rangers have more money than anybody.
Well, they tried the big trade by trading Capo Caco, and now I don't know. Like they're
Jacob
probably
Trouba. Yeah,
they traded Trouba. Like that's two big pieces that they've moved already. It hasn't worked. Laviolette's a good coach. Like this just in, like he's a championship caliber coach. He knows what he's doing. To me, this is a problem that stems much deeper than just coaching. I keep looking at the core. I hate the core. Not hate it. I just think it's not. Yeah, that's not a core you win with.
They're 4-14 in their last 18 games.
Yeah. And they've got an incredible goaltender in Shesterkin. So it's
like you would think, but then there's the note of how many games he's allowed 5 goals this year, which is a ridiculous amount. Again, I'll see.
What's he making right now? 11.
$900 million a year.
It's just crazy.
He's got a great deal.
No, he's making
11.5 next year, doesn't he?
He's making 11.5 next year. Wow.
He's had, quickly, I'll do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this year where he's allowed 5 or more goals.
Crazy, eh? Yeah, and people, he's arguably the best goaltender in the league when he signed that contract.
Yeah.
Again, it just like you go down to eventually Laviolette's going to get fired. Like, what else are you going to do? You got to do something. And who knows? It might go as high as the management. Like Jury could take a bullet here. And they probably could be a massive overhaul in the entire hockey department because there's been some decisions made and everything starts at the top, right? But yeah, I'm surprised because the New York Rangers are usually a very good regular season team. Like they get it done during the regular season, and then they get to the playoffs. Shesterkin does his thing, but it's caught up with them. They're just, but yeah, Florida still has that grit. They still have that. They still have that wherewithal within them where they know how to get it done. But I don't consider them the same team they were. They've lost too many. Like Brendan Montour was arguably their best defenseman last year. They've lost some other good pieces, but
okay. So they're playing in Florida tonight. I'm just curious, if you were a betting man, are you taking the New York Rangers?
Zero chance. This ship's going down. I'm taking Florida in that. I think the players are at the point. I read an article the other day. I think it was old Brooksy there. Larry Brooks just said the players have officially quit on their coach. I don't know. Did you read that one?
Yep. We don't mention his name on the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, he's when you got people in.
Well, how could they not? So Yorkie, you've been a professional. How could they not be quitting on him by playing this brand of hockey? So I'm just looking up in that streak we've said since the last 18 games, they are 2-8 in the last 10 on the road.
Yeah, that's not very good.
They've been shut out twice. held to 2 goals or less in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the games.
That's crazy. And in saying all that, you look at where they are in the standings right now. I'm just pulling them up. They just need, yeah, it's been, oh boy. Yeah, 6. They've dropped quite a bit. They're down right near with the Red Wings and the Sabres now. Yeah, something's going to happen there. I think it's going to happen sooner than later too. But it's tough to put. It's a combination of things with them all. It's like I said, I don't like their core, their top guys. I find they're not conducive to winning, and it is what it is.
So speaking of making moves, I meant to do this before I got somewhat sidetracked, is what does Ottawa need to do? They're in a tough spot. They're up against the cap when Zub comes back. If they take him off IR, what do they need to do? They need to make a move, do they not? To bring in somebody to help them with a playoff push, or do they just stay on course and let this team do what it can and build it from the summer? Do they not have to add somebody here?
Well, you're adding Zub when he comes back.
Okay.
You're adding a right shot.
Somebody else.
Well, so right away, when Zub's healthy, which I think is going to be after this road trip, how many teams have the luxury right now of adding a top 4 right shot? What does every team want in the NHL?
Right shot D. You would make $1 million a day if you were playing in the NHL right now.
I know, I would. It'd be just like the Zuber back there, wheeling and dealing. But well, there's a move right there. Another move, and these moves might happen internally. I don't know where David Perron is right now as far as his injury goes.
I'm told he's not close.
Really, the back, eh? Yeah. I'm hearing it's a back, and but if he could somehow get healthy, man, he would add something too down the stretch, because when the games start to get tighter, he's just a guy that knows how to play in those types of games. He's won a cup before, so I think they're going to wait and see what happens with the health of David Perron. But if he isn't able to go, I would think they would look to add another forward that can come in and help solidify that group up front. Just another good NHLer that could move up and down in your lineup, and teams will be looking to move those guys near the deadline, because you're only going to want to get something for it. So I think they just got to be patient. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to add Zub to the mix here. Hopefully Elmark's not out long term, and you can just kind of stay at bay until you get Allmark back, get Zub back in. But I would think a forward and maybe another defenseman too, Wally, in a perfect world. I'd look just in case if they're in the mix, defenseman, forward, and I think good night, Irene. There's your job.
It sounds easy.
Well, that's it. It's easier. It's tougher now because nobody really knows where they are, where they're going to be. Like, there's a lot of teams. Like, we just talked about the standings 5-10 minutes ago. There's a lot of teams that could potentially still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be subtracting from what you've got when you could be a team. So I think time will tell. Ottawa's just got to stay in the fight, and the longer they stay in it, I could for sure see them adding a piece or two.
There is, I feel like there's a rumor. I don't know whether it's Larry Brooks, like Derek Stepan, not Derek Stepan. He was already here. Chris Kreider. Yeah, the Stepan thing didn't go so well.
He looked so slow when he was here.
He was not having a good time.
But then he goes to Carolina. Was it the next year or something? He actually played pretty well.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, is that the same guy? Like, that guy looked like he was out of the league.
I think he got here and was like, yeah, this isn't what I'm thinking is good for me.
Yeah.
I believe they said it was family, and so they sent him to Arizona. I feel like he went to Arizona. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I don't think he wanted to be here. Yeah. There was a few of those guys that showed up and went, I don't think this is what. So
what's the Kreider stuff you're talking about?
So that he's available, and is there a chance Ottawa could use Chris Kreider? And I'm like,
he makes a lot. Like, his cap hit's pretty significant. Like,
it's trying to find room for players. Like, it's just easy to go, just add him to the roster. Well, you got to pay him.
Yeah, you got to pay. Yeah, it's sliding him into your mix.
And you're like, well, you just get someone to take his money. I'm like, well, that doesn't always happen either. $6.5 million.
Yeah, you know what? If it's me, and we're looking at guys to add, and you're getting close, and you're trying to bring in guys. I love guys that, well, who doesn't? That kind of in that breed of an Amadio, really good pro.
Yeah,
has some experience playing in the playoffs, isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, and can move up and down your roster. Because when you really look at it, does Ottawa really need another power play guy? So no. That's the thing. You bring in Kreider. Are you going to put him on your first power play? No. Where's
no.
Like, that's the thing. You got to be careful when you make those moves, because when you do that, and I remember we made a couple moves when you're at the deadline, and actually affected me. We were making a run for it. I was playing on the second power play, and we brought in Nelson Emerson. Nelson Emerson was a good, decent pro, but it's okay. Where do we play him? Well, you know where he went? He went on the point on the second unit, and all of a sudden, I punted off the unit. And I'm like, well, fuck, what the fuck? I thought I was doing a pretty good job. Like, there's always these moves that can affect the chemistry of your team or how guys do, and you got to be really strategic and very careful to not upset the chemistry of your team when you bring guys in. So my question is, okay, yeah, Kreider's had some playoff success. He drives the net really well. Had some injuries. Where is he going to fit into your lineup? Is he at this point in his career, based on how you've seen him play in New York, where he's been very inconsistent? Do you want to bring that into your lineup right now, the way he's playing? Like, I'd be nervous. Like,
11 having a goals, guy, 12 points, 31 games.
But having a guy that sometimes plays hard, like I want. If I'm bringing a guy in, I want to have a guy in. I'm not nervous about his work ethic. Like,
I would like to point out he has a 15 game no move clause, or a 15 team.
Yeah, and he's probably this guy.
Where do you think?
He's so set up in New York. Like, he's got his places to go. He's probably got this great house. He's got the kids in private school. He's hey.
And we can probably guess the first 7 teams on the list.
Yeah. So anyway, I would be hesitant to do that move, to answer your question with Kreider. I like I said, I like guys that are very motivated. Yeah. They're super motivated to win. They're at a certain age, and you can move them around in your lineup. Like, I just look at Ottawa's top end talent right now. You look at Stützle, top end talent. You look at Batherson, top end talent. Brady Tkachuk, top end talent. Josh Norris, top end talent. Like, Claude Giroux, again. I know people are a little bit on him as of late, but still, like, how many power play guys do you need? And Ottawa's power play is good.
It's okay. It struggled a bit, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's good. All right. Tomorrow, can you do me a favor? We're back at 9. I need a Charlie's choice for the Dallas game, and I would like a Canada-USA pick.
From Charlie?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy about that. She doesn't know a lot. She doesn't really watch World Juniors.
Can you get your crayons out and make a couple flags?
God, that's a lot of work, Wally. That's a lot of work. All right, I'll see what I can do. Talk to my people.
Listen, I'll. You know what? I will get the show to buy the treats if necessary.
Yeah. Well, she's on a diet too. Like, Christmas has been tough on all of us. My God, last night, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm sure everybody that's doing the same thing. You've got all this food still in your house from Christmas.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Did you ever have a s'mores pie?
S'mores pie?
Oh yeah. Just think of, like, you know, when you have s'mores on the campfire.
Yeah.
It's chocolate, graham cracker, marshmallow. Just think of all that stuffed into a cake. And think of me just plowing into it last night at 10:30.
Oh my God.
And then the problem is when you put stuff away in the fridge, things are together. So the pecan pie is in the same container as the s'mores pie. So then I had to have both.
No wonder you tweeted so much last night.
Oh yeah.
You were wired. Anyway, we're back at 9 a.m. Have a great afternoon, everybody. We'll see you then. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.